Hi everyone, my name's Dan. I'm from Gatineau, Quebec, just across the river from Ottawa. Today's the 12th of April 2020, and if you're watching this video soon after I made it, you'll know that we're in the middle of this pandemic with coronavirus. And so I've been stuck home now for about 4 weeks. Getting bored out of my mind right now, so I decided to play around with my GoPro, which I haven't touched in a while, and said to myself, well, why don't I do a video review of the bike that I bought last year. So that's what I'll do. So this is not meant to be any kind of professional review or anything like that. It's just I'm not trying to outdo any professional reviewers or anybody else out on YouTube. Actually, I think this is going to be my first video that I ever post on YouTube. So anyway, so just me having fun, and perhaps this will be useful for somebody out there. So to tell you a bit about myself, I'm 54 years old. By now you've realized that I have a strong French accent, so I'm a French Canadian. And English is my second language. So if you can bear with me with this accent, then it should be fun. So I've had a number of bikes over the years. I had some bikes when I was younger, and then kids came around and I stopped riding. And then I'm now retired from the military, but in 2004 I deployed to Bosnia. When I came back, I decided to take on riding again. So I bought a bike. I bought a Suzuki Bandit 1200, I think they were back then, not 1250. Had that for a few years. Then I wanted to try a cruiser, so I bought a Yamaha Roadstar. I liked it, great bike, but I realized that I was more like sport touring kind of guy. So that's when I bought the Concours. So I had the Concours for 7 years. I bought it in 2011. And last year, I was up about 70,000 kilometers on it, and just felt like buying a new bike. And I was not worried, but I thought after 7-8 years, maybe problems would kind of surface on the bike. And I'm not much of a mechanic, so didn't want to be in a position where I was stuck on the side of the road and having problems. So anyway, decided to buy a new bike. So what I did is I went shopping, and I bought a 2019 Kawasaki Versys Light Touring Special Edition. So, but first I must tell you about a little boo-boo I made. Is after when I sold the Concours, which I loved, I wanted to try something different, and so I test rode a Suzuki V-Strom 1000, and went on a 15-20 minute ride, and I liked it. It was cool. It was nice, and I ended up buying it. I had a good deal on it. It was 2018, brand new, which I bought like a year late in 2019, and I liked it to the point where I bought it. Anyway, a month and a half or so later, after my wife and I had gone on our yearly motorcycle trip for about 5-6 days, I realized that the V-Strom wasn't for me, and so I didn't see myself riding a bike that I didn't really enjoy that much for like 5, 6, 7 years. And so I decided to go shopping again. So don't get me wrong, I mean, the V-Strom performed flawlessly when I had it, and I know people swear by them, and they're great bikes and very comfy. I mean, like this thing was very, very comfortable, but for some reason it just didn't do it for me. So I went shopping. By then it was about mid-end September, and I came upon a good deal for the Versys, which is a bike I had looked at also before, earlier in the year. And I got it for about, if you're interested, $16,000 Canadian. And they threw in the top case, which is probably worth around $500 when you consider all the add-ons and the things that you need to put it on. So so I bought it. Yeah. So I rode it last year until about fairly late October, early November. Earlier this year, so far, it's working fine here, but I made a couple of runs up and down Highway 50 here in Gatineau. So I'm up to about like 4,000 kilometers on it. Good bike. I like it. I like the color scheme on it. I like the white. I know that I watched all the reviews on YouTube for this bike, and I know there's a number of comments that people don't think it's ugly, they don't like it. Others do. I like it. I think it looks nice. Yeah. Things I like about the bike. There's a lot of things I like about it. I'll tell you after a few things that I wish they had done differently. But things I like about the bike is it's very comfy. I mean, this is a big bike. Actually, like a very big bike. I'm 5'9", with an inseam of 32, and I kind of tiptoe it. The bike is a bit top heavy also. So you need to be a big boy to ride this bike. Because anything shorter than 5'9", I think it's a bit small. If you need to back it up, in a small hill, or one of the wheels is in the hole or something, you might have a hard time if you're shorter than 5'9", in my opinion. As I said, things I like about it, the side bags, a really cool system, a bit different than what was on the Concours, but it works as good, if not better. They're a good size. I mean, I don't put very much on the side bags, but I mean, I got rain gear in there and extra pair of glove, I think, or even maybe shoes or a hat or whatever. It comes with the one key system, so meaning that the key for the ignition is the same as for the side bags. But not only that, got it uses the same key for the top case. Top case is the same size I had on my Concours, and as you can see, it easily fits my Shoei GT Air, size large. And I got a couple of pair of gloves in there, and I could put other things in there, maybe not jacket when the helmet is in there, but perhaps in like a sweater or something. But it's a good size. Other things I like, obviously, this is a special edition, so it comes with the nice display, all digital. It's super cool, compared to the Concours, which had like the two dials, the odometer on the right side and the RPM on the left side. Obviously this is much more 2020 kind of, and the digital is really nice. Comes with the heated grips. I think even the base version comes with heated grips. It got different riding modes, road, sport, rain. It's got different suspension settings. In all honesty, I mean, I set it up with one rider and luggage, and I just don't see myself changing it from there. So, as I said, my wife has her own bike, so yeah, I just don't see myself changing it. The handguard, really nice. They work well. They're well positioned. They really protect your hands from any debris or even the cold. And with the heated grips, it works perfect. I like the the windshield. This one, contrary to the Concours, is not electric. You got to move it up and down by hand. But I have it, I'm sorry, in a middle position. And when I ride it at 120 or even 130, it doesn't wobble, it doesn't move. It's really solid, and the wind goes right above my head. So that's super. It's got center stand. As I said, I think it looks nice. I like the engine. Sounds nice. Very powerful. Not as much as the Concours, obviously. This thing has, I think, just under 120 horsepower. The Concours had 160, but it's fast enough for me. My wife and I cruise at about 115, 120 on the highway. So, at those speeds, there's really no issue passing, or when you need the power, it's there, and it's very solid, and it sounds great, and there's no vibration, and the mirrors are good also. I see well in the mirrors on both sides, so it's great. I'll show you my wife's bike. So Nancy's she's a tiny thing. She's 55, and she's 5'2", 5'3", 110 pounds or so. So that's a new bike from last year. She bought a Kawasaki Z900, and we added the side bags and a top case, because we go on rides a lot. So she needs that, and she always gets cold, so she carries a lot of jackets and gear and heated stuff. And anyway, so she needs the bags, but it looks great. She just came off two Ninja 650, so obviously the Z900 much more powerful, 4-cylinder engine. I'm not sure how many horsepower, but I think it's got more than my Versy. And compared to the 2-cylinder Ninja 650, this is much more powerful. She loves it. It's still a small bike. She got it lowered. Yeah, I rode it twice, and it does have a lot of power. So yeah, great bike. She's very happy with that, and she's probably going to be riding for a number of years with it. Anyway, back to the Versy. So those are the things I liked. As I said, I'll just tell you a few things that I wish they would have done differently. The first thing, obviously, comes to mind, the number one thing. There's three things I'm going to mention. The first one is the seat. So you might have noticed that I got a new seat. So I never did that before. I always used a stock seat, and always worked fine for me. In this case, the stock seat was terrible. Any rides longer than an hour, I was getting a sore bum. I don't know if the same experience for other people, but for me, the stock seat was just, it looked good on the bike, but it was terrible. So over the winter, I ordered a Corbin through the guys in Ontario, and they were great. I dealt with Chris, and gave him my specs, and within I guess it took about 4.5 weeks or so, the seat came in exactly as I wanted it. I could only it stayed in the house for a number of weeks until I was able to get to my bike in the shed. But as soon as I put it on, it slid right in. It was perfect fit. It latched in the back, and it looks good, I think. The one thing I will say though is that it's much more comfy. I mean, I didn't go long rides, but right away, as soon as you sit on it, you can see that it's much comfortable. It's flatter here, and so that's why I think it makes it comfortable. The one thing you need to know though is that the seat height is the same as the stock one. However, it's a bit larger here. It's a bit wider. And so what happens is that your legs are stretched out a bit more. And so you lose about an inch from the ground because of that. So you get the same seat height, but you lose about an inch because your legs are stretched out, or not sure how to say it, but anyway, you lose about an inch. So if you're already tiptoeing it with the stock seat, then you might go with the other option, which I might do. Is Kawasaki offers another seat on the website for this bike, and they say that it's got more cushioning and it's 2 centimeters lower. So I might do that. I think by memory, I think it goes for like $500 or so. So I might do that, or I'm not sure, or I just might put the stock seat on for like riding around town and shorter rides. And whenever I go on longer rides, I'll put the Corbin. I haven't decided yet, so I'm not sure I want to invest another $500 plus tax on a new seat. At some point it's got to stop, right? So I'm not sure. I'll see. The second thing I want to mention is the, obviously coming from a Concours with the shaft drive. I wish the Versy had a shaft drive, but it's chain. So I'll put up with it, and I'll go through the pain of the chain maintenance and all that good stuff. But this would be an even better bike with the drive shaft. And the third thing I want to say that I wish it made a bit different is the the transmission. I think this bike revs a bit high, and that's probably me coming from the Concours. But you're riding in fourth gear at 70 kilometers an hour, and the engine is revving at like 4,000 RPM. You're at 85 in fifth gear, and again you're at like just above like 4,000. So I'm used to the Concours where you're going down the highway at 120 125 kilometers an hour, and the engine revs at about like just above 3,000 RPM. So obviously I understand that this is not a Concours, it's not the same horsepower and the same engine size, but I think it revs a bit high. But I mean, don't get me wrong, the engine is superb and it's got power, and it runs well, and I think that's just the way the engine is made, much more like the Ninja 1000 than the Concours. So I'll certainly get used to that, but I wish they had spread out the gears just a tad more. But it is what it is. One thing I forgot to mention is, sorry about the fingers there. I'm not much of a aftermarket kind of guy for different accessories, but in this case, my wife bought me a GPS, a Garmin Zumo 595 for Christmas. So I went on the Kawasaki website for the accessories there for this bike, and I bought the plate that goes here. And so I bought that. I think it goes for just over $100, or maybe 85. I can't remember, somewhere around that anyway. And I really wanted to install the GPS to be right here on the handle. I didn't want it here on the left side, or I've seen some setup where it's up here also. That's not what I wanted. I really wanted over here. And so I had to grind the plate a little bit, because the holes of the GPS cradle anyway, they didn't align. So I had to grind the plate a little bit, and now the holes were like, they aligned perfect. And so the way it looks is that that's what it gives. So the install went well. Again, I'm not the most handy guy in the world, far from there. So what I did is that I ran the cables from over here, lift enough room in here so that when you move the handles, it doesn't stretch at all. And then I remove some of the screws and move the side panel a little bit to the right, and I was able to run the cables all the way down here on the side under the seat and right to the battery. So it looks very professional. I really like it. The way when you look at it, it comes just below the display. It's super nice. Anyway, I think it is. And as I said, the install for me, with my limited tools, my limited abilities, you know, it took me about 2 hours. And as you can see, you know, you don't see nothing. So it's a really nice install. I really like it. I'm very happy with it. One thing to remember though, if you do that kind of install is that as soon as you I'm sorry, as soon as you put the GPS in, even if the bike is not running, the GPS comes on, because obviously it's connected right to the battery. So that means that if you stop anywhere along the way, and you know, you can't really leave the GPS there, because it'll drain the battery. I don't know how long that would take. I don't know, an hour, maybe 2 hours. I really don't know. But sorry, I'm just gonna put this away. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. So I'll start it just so you can hear the sound, and here we go. So there you have it, guys. A 2019 Versys 1000 LT Special Edition in white. So I hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you guys on the road. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.